baseball, not always the best team wins, right? You got to still go out there and get it done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this special edition of Youth Baseball Midwest. We've got some baseball talk. The most comprehensive youth baseball coverage in the Midwest is proud to bring you a deep dive into our Class 5 and Class 6 quarterfinal matchups. We're looking forward to it. And, presented by Kilo Gear. Today, man, put on your Kilo gear, get your steps in, keep working. You build strength in every move, and that's the way it works. If you want to, you can. We're getting ready to put up our landing page. Mr. Wiggins is working with us on this project, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to start getting out and doing some fun stuff with some athletes. We got some gear coming to him that's going to help him work through that, and we'll be reporting to you about Kilo Gear and having some fun with it. So, hey, kilogear.com, go check it out. It's a great way to, if you're an athlete or if you're just regular person, just like me, who can't get to the gym, wear it every day and it burns calories, burns it all off. I feel better. I can move better. It's a fantastic source. So kilogear.com. On the Prime Sports call link here, we have, as always, the guru down there at the bottom. Got to give him his props, Mr. Kevin Mulder. What's going on, Kevin?
Well, not much. Enjoying this great time of year in Missouri high school baseball with postseason going on.
Indeed. And as always, head coach at Principia High School, Mr. Dave Wiggins. Coach, we had some fun last night on the press box talking with Coach McGee and Coach Josenberger.
Yes, we did. Great conversation with two gentlemen that are still fighting it out in the postseason. They're excited for their two quarterfinal matchups. Should be both Willard and Marshfield, and then obviously Staley and oh goodness, it escapes me now. Yeah, Staley and Rockhurst. Those are going to be good. Those are going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And, it's like we talked about, Coach McGee, his final run to a state championship. Man, that's just wild watching, it hadn't been that long since we started this, and here these guys, we've seen a lot of retirements recently. Coach McGee, Trevor Bowling is taking over for him. Kevin, what do you know? Do you know much about Trevor Bowling and him as a coach?
Not personally, no. I know he's been with Coach McGee, correct?
Yes.
So yeah, I think this is he's done a good job with Coach McGee. That we've talked about how Willard is, to me, one of the blueprint examples of top programs, how to run a top program in the state of Missouri. They start them all the way down with the little guys at probably 7, 8U and have their hands on them the whole time. So it makes sense to keep it in-house when you got a well-oiled machine that Coach McGee has built. If they feel like they can replicate what they've been doing, it makes a lot of sense to keep a guy familiar with the program and keep the machine rolling.
Absolutely. And, Dave, when you're talking about Coach Josenberger, his second year after taking over from Coach Wilson, who is a Hall of Fame coach, and that it shows you that program and what it was built through Coach Wilson and how Coach Josenberger has just come in and just kept that thing right going.
Yeah, they didn't skip a beat with that hire. That was outstanding hire on the athletic director and the administration's part. Is sometimes it's hard to take over the keys to a Ferrari, and Coach Jay is has kept it, has no dings and dents on that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, he's kept it waxed up pretty slick. I'll tell you that.
Yes, yes.
Oh man. All right, but we're talking class 5 here to start with, folks. So let's get into it. Let's start off here. District 1, District 2, we've got the blue blood, in my opinion, Festus, the Tigers taking on the Red Devils from Chaminade. I personally, I don't, I've watched a little bit of Chaminade, some of the players and whatnot. I've never known too much about their program, but Festus, Coach Montgomery, met him back when, and you talk about Shermer, that run they had. Shermer was on the mound as a freshman. They won the state championship, came in there. That was Zumwalt East was there, Zumwalt South. I think Willard was in that one as well. It might've been Summit. I can't remember exactly, but anywho, no, I think it was Willard that was there. So, you going back that far and watching this team, and a lot of the names continue to pop up, and, they just kind of keep going back. And we said this at the outset, who's going to beat, we picked Festus to win District 1. Who's going to beat them? I mean, DeSoto had their shot this year. Hillsboro had a shot last year. Farmington had a shot last year. There's been teams that have come up and you're like, wow, they're having a good season, but just can't beat this team. And culturally, Dave, that just, as a coach, you got to love that from Coach Montgomery.
Yeah, what I like about Festus is you have a lot of kids in their starting lineup that have contributed as freshmen and sophomores that are now juniors and seniors, right? I mean, obviously, Jackson Smith on both sides of the ball from the time he was a freshman. He's been just an absolute monster for them on the mound the last 2 years, and he was very good as a freshman and sophomore as well. Paired up with Mason Shermer. Braden Beers, Braden's been a thorn in our side. When I was at Webster for a number of years, I know he was one of their better hitters as a sophomore. He's now a senior. Braden Good played for them as a freshman, started every day at shortstop as a sophomore. He's one of the area's leading hitters this year as a junior. Jackson Imes, is a two-way guy for them who saw a lot of time as a sophomore, who's now doing well as a junior. Yeah, it's a lot of kids that got a chance to contribute early on. And I believe it's because, it is Festus, even though it's class 5, it's smaller town baseball where you're going to get an earlier chance to contribute. And, those kids are running. Cooper Shilley's having a great year. I believe he's hit leadoff for them all year. He had a good year last year as a sophomore. So you have a team right now at Cale Schomburg. Don't want to miss on Cale. Once Cale transferred over last year, he was a big piece for them offensively and also on the mound. But you have a team right now that these kids are playing varsity baseball at an earlier age than a lot of the other class 5 schools players are. And I just think it by the time they're juniors and seniors, they've seen it, they've done it. They're expected to win, right? They're expected to win their conference. They're expected to win their district. They've done it. They've won their district six years in a row. They're tough to beat. They're not easy to beat. And being in District 2, that's probably who you're going to go up against, barring an upset, which almost happened. DeSoto almost shocked the world. They almost shocked the world and won that district as a 7 seed.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
True. You're not wrong. But I think it showed. I think it showed everybody that Festus could be a little more human this year than they have been in the past. And I know Chaminade's licking their chops. I know that.
Well, I should have done this to begin with. I wanted to do this because, and then I'm going to get to Kevin here, but I'm picking Festus in this matchup, but I think Chaminade still young. They haven't been there. This is a tested program. And Kevin, that's got to mean something.
No question, and we've seen Festus down at the Final Four. We've seen him win a state championship recently. I will say this: Chaminade's having a phenomenal season, and they play a great schedule. Just being a part of the MCC, they got a scary middle of the lineup. Henry Ladenberger, saw him hit a homer in the district championship. I've actually seen him hit a couple home runs this year. He's one of the top power hitters in the state. And Jackson Miller, senior, having a phenomenal year. Obviously, Calvin Stanzich there at shortstop as well. So they got a really nice team. Anthony Wolstadler as well, hitting 465 with a boatload of doubles as well. So this top of the lineup for Chaminade is going to be a problem for Festus. Now, what I do like about Festus is they're going to throw Dave. How nice is this? You get three high-end left-handers to roll out there for Festus, and with those guys. And I don't think Chaminade has the answer comparatively on the mound, even though I think I like that Chaminade offense a little more than the Festus hitting group. But at the end of the day, the pitching certainly favors Festus and that postseason experience.
Yeah, I struggle with this one because I'm with you. I like Festus pitching staff at the top more. I do think Chaminade has more pitching depth than people are giving them credit for. Jackson Miller is a very good pitcher. He pitches in the low 80s with a hard slider, pounds the strike zone. Cooper Brown is starting to turn a corner again. He's a very talented left-handed pitcher with a mid-80s fastball with stuff that plays up. And if he can be in the strike zone, Festus just doesn't see a lot of velocity. They just don't. And when they do, they don't necessarily have a great time with it. Just look at the two schedules. Chaminade plays a tougher schedule. It is point blank period. I went through it. I couldn't find, and this is not a slight to Festus, they're a good team. I couldn't find a team that Festus beat that I looked at and I said, wow, that's just a really good team. And I'm like I said, I'm being hypercritical here, but I'm looking and I'm looking for like a really good win on Festus' resume, and I don't necessarily see one. I see good wins. I see a Farmington win. I see a dominant win over Webster Groves. I see a Lutheran South wasn't that good. They lost 15-5 to Lindbergh. They lost 8-3 to Marquette. But then you go and you look at Chaminade's schedule. Chaminade beat Lafayette, right? Chaminade took down I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up here. I'm trying to do two things at once. Chaminade took down Summit. Summit still, it's a Lafayette and Summit are still in it, right? They took down a quality Washington team. They took down Zumi East. They took down SLU. They took down MICDS. It's going to be a really good. I think it's going to go 3 games. Ben Hyatt's having a heck of a year. Ben Hyatt's headed to Rockhurst. No one ever mentions Ben Hyatt. Ben Hyatt hits 2-hole for Chaminade. He's hitting 410. He's all over the barrel. The lineup is deep, and obviously Henry's got super pop there in the 3-hole. Anthony Wolstadter, he's probably more of a 3-4 hitter, but he hits leadoff for him, hitting in the mid 4s just because he's an on base machine. I'm crazy, but I'm taking Chaminade. Hobbs threw a great game against MICDS, and he's their quote unquote closer. Stanzik can get on the bump and chuck in mid 80s. Henry Ledenberger can get on the bump and chuck in mid 80s. They've got athletes that can get on the mound and help them as well in a series where you might need more than 4 arms. So I think that the slight edge is Festus. I think everybody's probably going to pick Festus, but I'm going to go with Chaminade. Led by their captain, Jonah Copley. Jonah's been a 4-year starter for them. One of the best kids I've known and one of the best kids I've ever coached. They might not have the experience Festus does, but they're another team like Festus. There's a lot of kids on that team that played varsity as freshmen and sophomores. So although they're not playoff battle tested, they are battle tested.
Kevin, any final thoughts to that?
Yeah, those are some great arguments and points. I think Festus's path to do this is on the mound, and I think they probably got to do it in 2 games, to be honest. I am going to side with Dave on this. And although I think this is going to be a great series, I'm going to go Chaminade in 3 games. I believe this is at Chaminade, which I think also plays a factor in this as well.
Their student section is pretty fun too. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but GSV STL has really been highlighting their student section. They do the tarps off thing that's been really popular, and they're a loud and rowdy bunch, but they're not disrespectful. They keep it on their team. So
I will also give a nod to Festus's atmosphere because that was one of my favorite postseason atmospheres last year. They had a little bit of the Mississippi State feel with the trucks and the party behind the right field wall out there at Festus. So, but we're gonna obviously this one's played at Chaminade, right? So
yes, yeah, it'll be different. It'll be different.
Factor for yeah.
All right. There you go. I took Festus. They're to both taking Chaminade. I like that. I think those are quality. It's quality thought process, and Dave throws it out there for you there, folks. So take your pick. Next, District 3 taking on District 4. This one is interesting to me for the simple fact that, I really like Coach Rel, but I told him he's knocked my boys out now 2 years in a row, and it's really making me salty. So, I don't know if I could root for him. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, folks. But anyway, St. Dominic is they've taken the district championship there for the last couple of years. They're back here again. They've got Rockwood Summit, who I think by far, when you look at it as far as Class 5, other than maybe Platte County and Kearney up there, Willard, I think, has Willard and Webb over in Southwest. Here in this area, I think Rockwood Summit has the toughest schedule of a Class 5 school. They play in the Suburban Yellow Conference, which is all Class 6. I think Parkway West was back up to Class 6 this year again. You got Eureka, Lafayette, Lindbergh. Who am I missing? No, that's it. Marquette. And, they split with Marquette. I think they swept one of them. I can't remember. I think Lafayette, they split. They're beating these teams. And when you look at up and down their roster, you think, it isn't like they've got SEC, this, that. They're just a very talented group of guys that really play the game at a high level. St. Dominic is a lot in the same boat. A lot of guys that play the game very well. I think offensively, Summit has a bit of an edge over Dominic's group, especially once you get down into that 6 through 9. I think Dominic is a little better. I've seen both teams, and pitching-wise, I think it's pretty even. I think Dominic's got some really good arms. Summit's got some really good arms. So I'm taking Summit in a very close. I think this is going to go 3, but I think Summit offensively just has a little bit more. And this is going to be played at Dominic. They're at Dominic, and I'm pretty sure it's at Dominic. I'd have to look again, but that's my thought process, guys. Kevin, I've got this is going to be a fun series. Rockwood Summit is extremely battle tested. I do like that about them, and they also seem to have some key players that are seniors. So I like that as well. Obviously Wyatt Schneider, one of the top players in the area, having a big year. And, although I view him as a positional player, it's also nice that he it seems like he'll get the third game if everything's on the line. And I believe he pitched the district championship game for them last week. I would imagine he'd be their game 3 starter again. I like that they have a senior, a veteran presence
where if everything's on the line, they have a guy like that to lean on. They got some great athletes with the Dingus brothers up the middle there at shortstop and center field. So there's a lot of talent here. Liam Matthews is one of the more talented sophomores in the area, and I think they got enough pitching. So with Evan Wade and Carter Nagel, we talked about talented sophomore Matthews probably out of the pen, and Wyatt Schneider's been a rock for him. So I really like what Summit brings to the table. Now, certainly, St. Dominic's is not going to be a cakewalk. That's a really good program. They've stacked up a bunch of wins. They've kind of turned it around after a little bit of a hiccup, towards the end of the season. But I think they're 25-11. So this should be a fun matchup, Dave.
Kev, I could be wrong, but I think Schneider's going to throw the first game. I think coach is leaning on him. Yeah, Carter Nagel threw the district championship against Washington, and he was brilliant. Great job. But I'm just kind of looking at things, and Wyatt's been used as their one. I think he is their one. Just from a stuff standpoint, it's mid upper 80s with a very well commanded breaking ball, and he just goes right at you, right? I mean, he's not going to walk you. He's going to make you hit him. And admittedly, Coach Arell has told me, he's like, we struggle with velocity. So I guarantee you he's got those hack attacks fired up this week, and he's humming. Sorry, Kev. I think we heard your nose blow there.
Oh, sorry. I thought I muted.
We'll leave that one in, Kevin.
Yeah.
I thought you were like,
hey,
goose, man. Like, it's like what?
That's what he thought of your prediction there.
Okay, I'll shut up.
I love it, man.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, it's St. Dom. I think the depth of arms at St. Dominic, they're deeper, right? I don't think St. Dom has an arm that I like more than Wyatt Schneider. Noah Price is close. I mean, you guys need to look at Noah's 6-1 in 45 innings pitched with a .93 ERA, a .93 and a 109 WHIP. So if game one is Schneider versus Price, it's going to be a stingy game. It's going to come down to the wire. But I think whoever wins game one goes ahead and wins game two. I think that's how this one's going to go. And I do give Summit the slight edge. They're just so darn good in meaningful games. They bend, but they don't break. Like the bottom of their order is by no means super talented, but they know their roles. Coach Schneider's coached that into them from the time that they've been in that program. Get it back to the top, get it back to our, to our Dinguses and our Schneiders. Yeah, and St. Dom's talented. I mean, Jackson Chernetsky is one of the better sophomores in the area. He's having a great year. And he's a pitcher too, but he barely gets to pitch because they don't have anybody who can play third base as well as he can. Cooper Montgomery's obviously got thunder from the left side. His shortstop, Hankey, I feel like he's been there for 6 years. I think he's finally a senior. I mean, they're good offensively too, but depth-wise, they've got more arms. So I think if it gets to a game three somehow, I think I would give Dom the edge. I just don't necessarily think it gets to a game three. But I mean, we can look at it. Carson Kilcullen, has, what does he have? He has 25 innings.
And isn't he a sophomore?
Yeah, Carson's only a sophomore, right? Colin Otto, 26 innings with a .53. Chase Spurgeon, 24 with a 4.32. And that's the thing. Some of these dudes are lefties too. Some of these dudes are quality left-handed pitchers that Coach Urell's running out there in the low to mid 80s. It's going to be a heck of a series. I think Schneider game one. I don't know. I don't know if it's Nagel game two. I don't know what they decide to do game two. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think it comes honestly. I think it comes down to the back end of the bullpen and 6 through 9 for who's got the big hit, who's going to make that. Is it an error that keeps? That's how tight I think this is. I think both these teams put themselves in that place. I'm taking Summit because I think.
Oh, you know what?
What?
It's probably Evan Wade
Evan
in game
Wade,
2.
yes.
He's in a closer, but he's got 34 and 30 innings with a 1.83. So it's I think it's definitely going to be Schneider and Wade in games 1 and 2.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought his name popped in my head when you were talking about that, and then it left just as quick.
Yeah. He's Evan's headed to William Jewell, by the way. Evan's a hard throwing righty, big, strong, imposing figure. He's a heck of a pitcher.
And you can't forget about AJ Flam at the top of that Dominic order. He's their hits. He broke their single season record last year. He's a hit machine. He gets on base. He sets the tone for that squad. And if he's on base ahead of Montgomery and whatnot, they're going to score some runs. And
a name that, sorry, Bri, I want to make sure we're getting their due, man. A name that doesn't get any here in our area is Alex Berra. 443, 556, 494 slash. I want to say he hits leadoff or 2-hole for them. I mean, he's just been an on-base machine. I mean, a 556 on-base clip, getting on in front of Dingus and Schneider, or getting on in between Dingus and Schneider, however they do it. Plus, he's also logged 17 innings, has like a 1.5 or low ones. Yeah. Where are we at here? Sorry, going fast. 1.98 ERA in 17 and 2/3 innings. So Rockwood Summit, it's almost kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts type thing. They're just going to come at you and they're not going to stop.
And that's why these teams are here in the quarterfinals. That's why they won the district, folks. And we may not have as much information about these other teams as we do this because we have more of information readily available. It is difficult to get information on other teams outside of our area, which we're working on. I'm hoping that we can remedy that in the future, and we're going to work to do so. But I understand what coaches have said, why they like to keep things close to the vest, but we'll see what we can do. So Kevin, who you got, buddy?
It takes Summit in this series.
Okay. All right. And
was that a clean sweep across the board, which is definitely a kiss of death for us?
Yeah. Sorry, Coach Snyder. My bad.
Coach Urel, don't hate me. I'm doing this to help you, man. It's Rockwood Summit.
Exactly. Oh, mercy. All right. In District 5, Marshfield moved up to District 5. This was an interesting one to me when the district seedings came out, because Marshfield has been in District 6 with Willard the last few years, however many I've seen. And this year they got bumped up to 5. I thought was along with Lebanon, who came down to Class 5. So Lebanon and Marshfield went up to District 5 there. You had Jeff City up there in that one. Warrensburg was the team that I'd actually picked to come out of 5. I thought Warrensburg was playing very well. Cannon Crooks, Charlie Morgan had that team rolling pretty well, but man, Marshfield, they were in it last year. They were finished 4th in a very difficult Final Four with Vianney, Platte County, Rockwood Summit. There you go. And so they're back here again, facing their old nemesis, Willard from District 6. And I'll tell you, just from this point of view, I told people last night on the press box, I'm taking Willard, just because I think these kids, and I think this has a big factor in it. No slight to Marshfield or anything. I think Willard's doing it. I think it's that final push for Coach McGee on his way out. We'll see if they can finish it, but I think Willard is going to take this one, and that's just my thoughts to that. Dave.
I've got Willard into. I don't see Marshfield beating Levi Hilton, and I see Willard just rolling after that. Um, I just they're deep, they're talented. We obviously we can't talk about their numbers because we don't know what they are. We can't see them, But yeah, and I know Marshfield has some great players in Hunter Fryman. They got a couple other solid ones that Kevin will name. I just think Willard to me is the front runner in Class 5. I think they're going to be extremely hard to beat. Um, and there's that extra fuel to the fire there with it being Coach McGee's last year. The sophomore class won a state championship 2 years ago. They're going to want to go out as seniors and do it again. It's going to be tough, really tough to beat them.
I agree. And, it's not Cade Hyder going to Fort Scott, Jarrett McGee, Missouri, and him and Levi Hilton are both going to Missouri Southern. And it's not just those guys, is it, Kevin?
No, Willard's really deep. And I want to say this right off the bat. One of the big surprises to me was not that Willard is here, because I think we picked them to advance, but the manner in which they got there. They beat a very good Webb City team very soundly in the championship game, and that was a little bit of an eye opener to me. So I'm going to kind of second all that you guys are saying about just Coach McGee's last year, and really beyond that. I think there's more to it than that. I think it's a senior group that has been in this situation multiple times. We've seen them win a state. Coach Wiggins is well versed this group here, but there's an awful lot of talent behind this Willard ball club. Marshfield's good, and they were down in class last year, right? They were Class 3 last season.
No, they were Class 5 last year.
They were 5.
Class 5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. They were in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that's what I was referring to. We were watching them last year at the Final Four. But yeah, this Willard ball club is really deep, really strong, and they've played a phenomenal schedule. They play all the big boys in Class 6. We see them at the Columbia tournament. They obviously play a great schedule there in Springfield as well. I think this Willard team is going to be tough to beat, and honestly, I kind of feel like this could be a 2-game series here.
We talked with Hunter Fryman and Carson Adams on our winter workout tours, the 2 seniors that lead this team, and they talked about getting back to this point, and they didn't start well at Marshfield. Their season, they really got off to a rocky start, and we were there kind of front and center to see it when opening day they took an 11-3 loss to Willard. And I was kind of like, wow. And then they struggled from there, but man, they have played really good baseball. I think this gets pushed to 3. I do. I think it's a 3-game series. I think Marshfield is that tough, but I just think the depth from Willard over gets to this pot, because they just have guys everywhere. And when you put together that kind of roster and you start talking about Willard, and that's what you alluded to, Kevin, from time they're 5, 6, 7, and we've seen that these guys understand what it is to play Tiger baseball, and they know when they get there what they got to do. So I just think that and just on his way out, I think that's where it goes to. So Willard consensus. Kiss of death. Sorry, Coach. Oh, mercy. We'll have some fun with it. Last one here. So right now we got Festus. I got Festus, Summit, Marshfield. The guys have Chaminade, Summit, and I didn't say, I'm sorry, Willard. Got Festus, Summit, and Willard. Guys have Chaminade, Summit, and Willard. So there we are. Summit Christian, the Eagles taking on Platte County. We saw Platte County mid-season taking on Staley. It was our game of the week. First time we got to see Staley as well. Sleepy Boyer pitched a gem against Platte County. Loved it, man. And, we had good conversation with Coach McGee and Coach Staley about Platte County. And, over the past 5 years, they have just been I think they've been as consistent, if not more, than Summit and Willard as far as, you look up every year. Actually, you look up every year. It's Festus, Summit, Willard, and Platte County. And it's almost like you can set your watch by it. When you get to the postseason, there they are. And here we are again. And Platte County, I think, has been just that team this year. And this is why, as much as, I know just a little bit about Summit Christian, I know what Kevin's talked about with the Zumwalt brothers, and I've watched that a little bit over that time. Pitching wise, I think their schedule is definitely not what Platte County plays. And I don't know if that was, just if they were caught by surprise moving up. I don't know. I wouldn't think so. But they seem to play a pretty similar schedule to what they played the year before as a Class 4 team. And, did they get challenged enough? Did that, the three guys from Jeffries and the Zumwalts, they can hit anybody. Don't worry about that. They're not worried. I don't think those guys are worried. But it's just going to be the rest of the squad. What does that do against a Platte County team that is just seasoned? They know what to do. They know how to do it. And I think it's just going to be a tough one. I think Platte County is back in the Final Four again this year. Dave?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, because I can't see numbers, I'm just kind of looking at schedules and wins and losses. Platte County's playing great baseball right now, right? They allowed 3 total runs in districts. I don't know of anyone outside of the big 3 at Summit Christian. I'm not sure if Kevin does, but obviously those big 3 can play with anyone. But I just look at the district and how it played out for Summit, and they played Ruskin and Raytown and smoked them. But then they played a really close game against William Crispin, who I would venture to say really isn't even that good in the grand scheme of things. I mean, Platte beat the bejesus out of them earlier. It just makes you wonder, if it does get to a game 3, is Summit Christian out of gas, and does Platte have more depth? Platte's obviously larger. I'm sure they have a bigger roster with depth-wise, because Summit Christian is not a Class 5 school. They're a smaller class. They're just up in 5 because of their championship factor points. If Brennan McLaughlin can win game 1 and put Platte in the driver's seat, even if Summit finds a way to win game 2, I think Platte has a significant edge in game 3. Although I think it would be really cool and fun to see Summit Christian win that, I'm going to take Platte County with very limited knowledge about both teams.
Kevin?
Yeah, I actually do have some stats on these guys, so I'll share that with you guys. Summit Christian, I second everything you guys say about the schedule. They haven't played the strongest schedule, and I don't know how far scheduling is done in advance, but certainly they moved up in class, and they've played schedule that of schools of their size. So a lot of that, scheduling is that, and in certain geographical things. So we get that. Platte has taken on all comers. They've been to the Columbia tournament. Obviously, they're the defending Class 5 champions. So there's a lot to like there. But I would venture to say this has to be statistically the scariest middle of the lineup in Missouri high school baseball. When I read off Brooks's stats on the year, a 561 average with a 1750 OPS, Dave, 10 doubles, 2 triples, 11 bombs, 48 RBIs. And little brother, Keelan, with the 506 average and 1719 OPS with 12 doubles, 5 triples, 10 bombs, 52 RBIs. To mix in a Carter Jeffries right with those guys. So that is the gauntlet right there. There isn't a better middle of the lineup statistically in the state at any level. Now, what Platt brings is a world of experience, some good depth. Obviously, we talked on Brendan McLaughlin, who's also hitting over 450 for his ball club. So he's doing it on all sides. He's a three-sided player. He's doing it on the mound, at the plate, and defensively on the left side there. I also love a sophomore over there named Beckett Hall, who bats leadoff for him, who's a spark plug. He's got a chance. He could end up being a high-level player. We saw Evan Magnuson a year ago win 2 games for them at the Final Four. He's had some struggles this year, but when we saw him in Columbia, it was coming around a little bit. So a lot to like here. I'm going to side with Platt just with their championship experience and the schedule, and ultimately the pitching. I'm going to go that way with Platt. But it would be a fun team to watch, Summit Christian, with that type of firepower.
I'm sure Coach Sipes knows this. Don't pitch to those guys. Just put them on. Take your chances. Oh man. And Matt Sisko there for Platte County, been there, the first baseman, Edsel. We saw him hit a home run. He's got good pop in his bat. They got some guys throughout that lineup, and we did the Beckett Hall kid. I think you're right. He looks the part too, Kevin. He moves very well defensively. He's solid at third base for them. He was fun to watch.
Edsel is an extremely strong kid and one of the few players that we've seen hit it out down there at US Ballpark. So that's some big time juice. And the other guys on the roster of who's hit home runs at US Ballpark in the Final Four, it's an impressive who's list. They're all playing professionally or major Division I college baseball.
Yeah.
I wish that someone associated with Summit Christian would shoot us a note, because we tend to get lost in those 3 guys. I guarantee there are other dudes in that lineup that are good high school baseball players that aren't automatic outs, that aren't easy outs, that are quality players. They might not be the Zumwalds or the Jeffries of the world, but there's no way they've gotten this far with just 3 guys. So it would be really nice to know what else Summit Christian has to kind of put around those guys. Maybe we are completely sleeping on them, and maybe they're just going to beat the stuffing out of Platte County. We just don't know, and it's because we don't know enough about what they have outside of those 3. But that's a third of the lineup right there that you have to get through, at least probably 3 times a game. That is, and when they're not just hitting doubles. Those are the Zumwalt brothers have accounted for more home runs than most high school teams in our state. And that's absolutely bonkers.
What do you know, Kevin, of Ethan Epema? Or is it Apema? He's a Summit Christian kid.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with the pronunciation of the last name there, Brian.
Yeah. He's
what's the word? What's the country of origin?
EPEMA. He's from the other side, plays for Yard Baseball Club. I just pulled up, and you may not have seen him, because I know you don't see all the kids, because he's on the other side as well. but he's in the rankings. He's down there a little bit, but Summit Christian Senior, I don't know if he plays much. And that's the tough thing when we get into this. And folks, you can't, and that's the thing with, even with what Kevin's saying here, it's tough. Oh no, he's a 27. I'm sorry, he's a 27. He's a 27 for Summit Christian. And so I don't know what he's getting there. And I'm just looking at, just the PBR stuff, just trying to see Jag Garrison, Summit Christian. He's a catcher going to Allen Community College, Kevin.
Jag is a very good player. Yes.
Okay. And you also
Jag what?
Garrison.
Jag Garrison.
Okay. We have G. Pacetto and B. Cook. I'm reading their Twitter right now. It looks like G. Pacetto and B. Cook are big contributors for them. B. Cook threw a complete game in the championship, the district championship game. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we're not giving them their credit. But there are players on that team that are good players that we're not mentioning. And that's just all I want to make sure everybody understands and hears is, I mean, I'm looking at a team picture. They're physical. They're big. They look athletic. I mean, this isn't that's a small school with 3 studs and nobody else around them. That's not what this is.
No, Kevin, when you look at their seniors here, and it's kind of interesting because you got Carter Jeffries listed as a catcher going to Xavier. Nate Metzger listed as a catcher going to Southwest Baptist University. And folks, if you don't know what that is, that's Coach Merriman, Randy Merriman, who's the head coach there. It's the NAI school. That's a really solid program. Pretty new. No, is that not right?
No.
That's Mission. That's Mission University. Okay.
It's in Bolivar. It's Division 2.
Okay.
Bolivar, Missouri.
Okay.
Had the pleasure of being there.
Yeah, you were thinking of Bible Baptist before they switched to Mission.
That's right.
But they put BBC on their jerseys, so they switched to
Mission. Oh man, and there's so you got Brooks Zumwalt, Nate Metzger, Carter Jeffries, and Jag Garrison all listed as catchers. So they're not all catching.
No.
It's a fair assumption, and that is also, in my opinion, the most important position at the high school level, and also, the thinnest position at the high school level. So they have an embarrassment of riches at the position.
So we just want to make sure we do it because it's hard. And even in preparing for this, folks, it's still sometimes very difficult to find information. I know it is for Kevin. He's out there pounding the pavement watching these kids. It's tough. It just is tough. So hopefully coaches will let go of the reins a little bit in the future. I ask them all the time, why are you hiding it? We'll see what they'll do.
What I do like is when you get there, like when you get to the Final Four, you do get a pamphlet of every team's stats. And some of them are eye-opening. Like we looked at Carney's and we were like, oh no, this is no thank you.
So, all right. So recap here and we'll finish this because we're going to pick it all the way through. I've got Festus. The fellas have Chaminade. We all 3 liked Summit. All 3 liked Willard. And we all 3 liked Platte County.
I'm out. I'm taking Summit Christian.
Oh, he's a flipper.
I'm flipping.
Okay.
I'm flipping.
He's flipping.
You like those home run numbers I was reading off.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, then, that's into the Final Four. I'm going to take Summit to get to the championship game. I think they're prepared for this. I like that group. I think they're in the championship game, taking on Willard. And, I love you, Coach Schneider. I think fantastic, but I'm going to take Willard all the way through. So that's my picks right there. Dave, what do you got to finish up here, buddy?
Yeah, I've got This is crazy. I've got Summit Christian beating Rockwood Summit in the championship.
Oh, bold.
Hey, if Summit Christian wins this series, all they have to do is win one game against, yes, in my opinion, the best team in Class 5, but it's one game. And Keelan Zumwalt can get on the mound and beat anybody. And apparently this B. Cook kid, I wish I knew his first name, apparently he could chuck it too because he did beat Warrensburg. So yeah, I'm going a little.
Keelan will not be pitching. He is scheduled for Tommy John as soon as the season ends.
You've got to be kidding me. Never mind, Platte County. I'm serious. Oh, it's like that's a dynamic handed arm that can beat anyone in the state.
Yeah.
If he can't pitch, okay, yeah, Platte County, and then I've got Willard beating Summit in the championship.
That's what I got. So, Kevin?
You guys have really painted me into a corner here because I think you guys have the very direct path here. I like what you guys have done. That makes a ton of sense to me. I'm going to go a little bit of devil's advocate here, and I think Platte will advance, which means I think they're going to have the best pitcher in the Final Four pitching in Game 1 versus Willard. I think Willard is the best team in Class 5, but just for the sake of this, I will go Platte County is going to beat Willard with Brendan McLaughlin on the mound. He's going to go out with the bang. And then they will be repeat champions. And we'll go Platte winning it all.
Man, that's, and here's the thing, folks, people go, oh, no, that can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, but you're looking at
it did happen last year.
So. Yes, it did. And
yeah, like you're looking at a McLaughlin Hilton 1v1 dude versus dude matchup. That's
it's going to be a low scoring, tight game. Could go either way.
I'm going to be there too, man. I love that stuff, man. Do you, and folks, if you get a chance, if you're in Ozark or wherever, go watch this baseball. Get to the ballpark. Kevin will tell you this, when we're there from Wednesday through, there is some outstanding baseball. You get to Class 5 and 6, I'm going to tell you something, folks. Best baseball game I ever saw was Liberty North, Francis Howell. That extra inning, that was just bonkers baseball. Guys making plays, diving, hits, boom. I mean, you watch Humbert, I think he was a sophomore at the time. He's coming up and hosing people at the plate. You got the freshman coming in playing second base and Titus Sissel. You
remember the diving play Titus made to keep the game going? If he didn't make it, they would have lost. The diving play at second base he made.
It was crazy, Kevin. And, and you think about the guys that we've seen come through Ozark over since 21. And the level of baseball that's been played. I'll tell you, folks, if you can get there, get there. It's well worth it.
Well, and here's what we just kind of figured out here, Brian, over the last 30 minutes. It doesn't really matter which one of these 8 shake out. We're going to end up with a really fun Final Four, no matter however it shakes out. You can make, these series could go either way. It's going to be really tight. These are really 8 really strong teams, and it's going to be a very fun Final Four whenever we get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a lot of fun. That's, we're probably all wrong. Maybe. Who knows? We'll find out. I just love doing this part of it because I love talking about the teams. These are great teams, and it's no offense to any of the coaches we pick against. It's just, moving it through. And as Kevin said, we're going to have some fun watching baseball once we get there. So, hey, Give us your picks. Put them down below. Put them in the comments. Tell us what you think about the picks. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you enjoyed it. That's our look at Class 5. And starting Friday, folks, we'll see you at the ballpark.